Welcome back to the Screen Team. We are giving you movie reviews for you today, and we've got Val ready for this one. And Val is a lover of movies, but she also is a lover of music. She's a lover of being a DJ, and this next movie is something that incorporates all three, right?
Yes. This one, it came out in the early 80s, and it's just, I think it's probably one of those that made me want to be what I am today. That along with WKRP, but that's a whole other story.
That's a great show.
Yeah, I love that show. But yeah, this movie, I can remember, the first time watching it going, man, that is so cool. Just to be able to speak your mind. And of course, obviously, it doesn't work out well for him, but to be able to speak your mind, get people listening to you, just, have some fun, kind of go crazy.
The movie we're talking about is Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater. And at the time, Christian was a heartthrob.
He was. This was, I want to say, I think it was like his second movie that he was the headliner in the movie. The first one was Gleaming the Cube. We talked about that, which was a totally different movie, different style movie for him too, a bit younger. But when this one came around, he was that 80s heartthrob. Just, I don't know, chicks dig him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised by the where this movie was going to go. I knew nothing about it. I had seen trailers before. I had seen, the cover of the not the album, but the movie, the DVD case, and I always thought, okay, it's Christian Slater. He's a wild and crazy DJ, but I didn't know that he's playing a high school student.
Yes.
B, the radio show that he's doing is a pirate radio station.
Yeah.
And what I found fascinating about the movie is he's almost kind of like Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah, that alter ego. Because his persona, when he's in the public, is he's a very shy guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't talk to people. He's in a new school, new area, and he doesn't know anybody. And really, but when you see, like, there's a scene where he's at the library and he checks out Lenny Bruce, how to talk dirty and influence people. It's like, yeah, okay. So, yeah, but I like that too. It's like, because on the air, he's free to be himself.
That's right.
And what's cool about it is at first he just thought he was talking to the air. He had this radio, was trying to talk to his friends back east, and he was just talking. Next thing you know, he's got people listening, sending him fan mail. It's like, hey, that's awesome. I want to try that.
The people who are listening are the people from his high school mainly.
Right.
And they're listening to him. They like him because obviously he's young and he's saying things that they want to hear.
Well, he's saying things that nobody else will say. And it talks. The movie kind of focuses around the school that he goes to, because his dad works at the school, so he has kind of inside information about some shady things that are going on, and he's actually exposing them, which is what causes so much chaos and gets like the FCC involved, and So I mean, it is like kind of like Clark Kent, Superman. I
found that very interesting. There's a little love story in this too, right?
Yeah, one of his biggest fans, Nora. Yes.
And she has that typical kind of 90s kind of, I don't want to say grunge, but pre-grunge kind of look to her,
Yeah, that I'm going to wear whatever I want because I can.
Yeah, it was kind of like goth before goth.
Yes, actually, yeah, it was. But she likes him on the radio. She totally loves everything he does.
Sure.
But she gets that teenage obsession thing. I'm going to find out who you are. So she starts tracking him down, and she does. So once she does, it's like you got this wild child with this shy guy. Anything can happen. But if anything, I would say she helped to bring out openly that persona that he really has instead of the shy guy.
There's a lot of struggles in his radio show. Obviously, you had mentioned some of them, the FCC, the school's trying to come down hard on him, but he's also having struggles with some of his listeners.
Yes.
They're these kids, they're looking for advice, and sometimes he takes them seriously, sometimes he doesn't, and one time it kind of caught him by surprise.
Yeah, it did. And it's one of those that it's the peer support. So you've got, and of course, the crazy thing is they know he's a student there. They don't know who he is, but yet whenever this kid reaches out to him, he kind of plays it off as a joke. At the same time, there's that disconnect where the kid disconnects with him and stops listening is when he actually starts taking it seriously and is giving the advice that he should have given in the first place.
Sure.
So he doesn't know that. But yet he feels responsible for what happens later.
Well, in all fairness, we've seen other calls that he had, and it was people playing jokes and pranks on him. So that's your first reaction is that it's
exactly that it's just a joke.
Right.
Yeah, I get those all the time. I'm just kidding.
I believe this movie is rated R.
I believe it is. Got a little brief nudity in it and some sexual content as far as suggestiveness. I mean, I was reading Lenny Bruce, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie. I mean,
yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I like it. I like movies about dealing with radio and being in radio and stuff like that. Some of the acting I thought was just a little bit outdated, a little bit.
Well, I mean, you got to think of when it was made.
I know.
It's not and that's the thing, though. It's not like this full-grown, motion picture. Mm-hmm. It's not the same as what we have today. And I think it's only an hour and a half. I mean, if that, it might only be an hour. I don't remember because back then they didn't make 3-hour movies. So yeah, it's just one of those. You can kind of put that aside. It would have been more of a B, kind of a, I don't know, A/B movie. It wasn't a huge hit, but it wasn't like out on DVD in 2 weeks either. So
right. I'm curious on what you think. Is this a movie that? Is this a movie more for people our age to remember how things were, or do you think kids who are going through the stages that the people in the movie are going through, do you think they can relate to this movie, even though it's 30 years old?
Well, actually, I think it's kind of both, and the reason I say that is because even with my daughter as a teenager, watching, I would sit and watch like WKRP, for example, and even this movie. A lot of the things at that time, those things were taboo. People did not talk about them. Mm-hmm. Today, they talk about everything.
Sure.
So, I mean, to me, it's one of those to see really how open things have become at this point, but to also there's kind of that, I don't know, where they need that. I don't want to say intimacy, but to where that they can really communicate with someone one-on-one. Yeah, I think it's good for. I think it's pretty much good for anybody.
Yeah, I was watching the film and that last scene and how all the the teenagers came together and it was more than just fighting the man. It was them coming together to realize
of all different classes.
Yeah.
You had all your different groups and circles that they all supported the same thing. So yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was cool.
Talk hard.
Talk hard. I love it. All right, Val, thank you for introducing this to me and hopefully to some of our listeners and viewers on the Screen Team. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We got more reviews coming your way, and remember, we want you to know before you go.